Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day. I'm Narishika Fauzi. We'll be presenting our recent study entitled Above Ground Biomass and Carbon Stock of Liana along the watershed area of Pergau Jeli, Kelantan. This presentation consists of introduction, methodology, result and discussion, conclusion, references, and acknowledgement. As for the introduction, Liana response appeals to level of at very high carbon dioxide levels, but the unique combination of increased growth rates of lianas under elevated carbon dioxide and increasingly disturbed forests due to human intervention is a situation requiring attention. The contribution of liana biomass to total above-ground biomass has been estimated to range between 3% and 70% across different tropical forests. This study reports the finding of preliminary inventory on the above-ground biomass and carbon stock of liana associated with landscape-scale fragmentation induced by the Pergau Dam along the watershed area of Sungai Long 2 intake in Jeli, Kelantan. This preliminary inventory was conducted in 0.15 hectare along the watershed area of Sungai Long Intake 2 in Pergau Jeli, Kelantan. This watershed area is part of reservoir for Pergau Dam operated by Tenaga Nasional Berhad after it was officially opened in 2003. The area represents the lowland vegetation with approximately 450 meters above sea level. Within the vicinity, the canopy was moderately wide and the emergence were approximately not exceeding 45 meters. For the sampling method, the inventory of liana was carried out in November 2019 following the protocol by Gori et al. 2006. All liana stems, or known as ramets, exceeding 1 cm in DPH were inventoried and the DPH was measured with a caliper at 1.3 meter above the ground. The tree mainly supporting a liana was also recorded as its host tree. The diameter of all host tree which DPH exceeding than 10 cm were measured at 1.3 meter above the ground. Meanwhile, for the data analysis, all the DPH measurements were tabulated accordingly and AGB of liana was estimated using the equation below, developed by Forger et al. 2013. For the results, lianas with DPH range between 0.06 to 0.95 cm were found to be dominant in the inventory site, comprising 41.8% of the proportional abundance, followed by 40.3% of lianas with DPH in the range of 1.05 to 1.94 cm. Lianas that measured with DPH in the range of 2.07 to 2.73 cm accounted for 10.4% of the proportional abundance. The least encountered DPH of lianas were 3.82 cm and 4.14 cm respectively. Meanwhile, 4.5% of lianas were measured with DPH exceeding than 5 cm. On average, liana abundance was inversely correlated with host tree abundance. Based on the figure 2, the total above ground biomass was estimated 37.9 ton per hectare within the inventory site. The contribution of Lana biomass to total above ground biomass has been estimated 6.5%, extremely lower than the total above ground biomass contributed by the 13 host tree, which was 545.3 ton per hectare. 13 Lana host trees were identified with DPH in the range of 2.99 to 17 cm. Carbon sequestration by Lanas was estimated 19.8 ton carbon per hectare, contributing 6.8% in response to level of high carbon dioxide, while the carbon stock of the host tree was estimated 272.6 tons carbon per hectare. The findings from our preliminary inventory indicates that carbon sequestration by Lanas was 13.7 times less than the host trees. Typically, for forest regeneration following deforestation, a recovery of 85% of the carbon stock contained in the initial old-growth forest is expected in about 80 years with a carbon accumulation rate close to 5 mg per hectare per year. By contrast, in the liana-infested forest, carbon stock remains stable at carbon accumulation rate close to 40% of the high canopy forest carbon stock over the past 20 years. Liana have already been found to have increased over recent decades in dominance even in undisturbed neotropical forests, possibly due to climate or atmospheric changes. Liana may also be expected to benefit in the coming decades if tree mortality rates continue to rise, or if disturbance at regional scale become more frequent because of warming, leading potentially to more frequent extreme events. The untreated liana-infested forest will gradually limit the net carbon sequestration capacity in the forest and may potentially induce the formation of liana-infested canopy or emergence. As for the conclusion, it could be suggested that ecosystems along watershed area along the Sungai Long 2 in Perga have been disturbed. This was based on the high abundance of liana. Although the AGB of liana was lesser than the host tree, nevertheless the liana population size should be controlled in equilibrium within the ecosystem. To ensure the stability of the ecosystem, regular silviculture treatment should be executed in the highly liana-infected area. We would like to express our utmost appreciation to TNB for granting the permissions to execute our study and Yim Stimulation Kelantan for supporting this study. Thank you.